Okay, I am back and we have cut out perfect card mats. Now what we're going to do is we're going to adhere them to the cards. Now these are your typical cards that you can either make with a piece of cardstock yourself. When you cut out one 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, will give you 2 cards, or you can go to a store like Michael's and buy boxes of cards pre-made. Okay, so these will be like your standard size cards. And then what we just cut out were the mats for these kinds of cards. So what I've done prior to this video, just to get started, was I just picked out 4 colors of cards that we're going to attach our mats to. Okay, and we'll do that because then we'll have the beginnings of 4 cards. Okay, I'm just going to use, any kind of, rolling adhesive for this purpose. You could use like double-sided tape. You can use tacky glue. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. Every crafter has their own preference for adhesive. Okay, now I'm just going to lay it down. And when I put my mats on my cards, I like to stand up. Okay, and it just helps me center those. Pretty good. Okay, now this one, because the Martha Stewart paper was pink already, I'm going to use the sort of vanilla side for this pink card, because the mat, you can't put pink on pink. You got to have some contrast there. So we will attach this mat. Okay, so now we have that one done, and I like that there's a little bit of glimmer on the paper. I'm going to put pink on yellow for this one. So the Brother ScanNCut just makes your card making automated processes really fast and really simple and really accurate. And one thing, I said the mats weren't very sticky, but one good thing about the Brother ScanNCut is that the blades are really good. The blades last a long time. I think I'm only on my 2nd blade, although I'm on my 8th mat. That just gives you an idea how much better the blades are. I could compare that to other products, but that's a different course altogether. On the green. So we have 4 cards completed, well, not completed, just the beginning stages of them. Okay, what I want to do next is take this piece. This is also from, if you're just tuning in or you're not watching the videos like very close together, I just want to review where I'm getting this paper from. So I'm going to use another piece of light cardstock. It's from Martha Stewart's Crafts Essentials Paper Pad. Okay, I'm taking this piece now because I know that this pink coordinates with this pink. Okay, I'm going to use the spring pattern on these card bases. Okay, so that's where I'm going with this. And we've already used the standard mat. Now we'll use a little bit stickier of a mat. And even though I'm using a little bit stickier of a mat, I'm using the middle tack mat, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to use the same blade depth. Okay, I'm going to use a blade depth of 4. I'm just going to show you now. I'm going to move these cards out of the way, move my machine back into the view, and show you how to change, not how to change the blade, how to adjust your blade depth, and how to put your blade back in. Okay, so there's your blade holder. Let me just start at the beginning, put the blade back. Okay, your blade is in the blade holder from when you purchase a machine and you put it in the blade holder. Now you lift this up to take the blade out of the blade holder, or blade holder out of its, the blade cartridge out of its holder, okay? Okay, so there we go. There's how you do that. Lift this up, pull this out. That is as simple as that. You have to do this once in a while anyway, just to check if anything's stuck in there. Okay, I always twist up to make sure whenever I'm adjusting my blade depth that, see, the blade sticks out and that there's nothing stuck in there. Sometimes you get little pieces of paper stuck in there. And that's it. Then I just go up and then I go right back down. Okay, I'm going to blade depth of 4. It was already at a blade depth of 4. I'm just showing you how you would adjust your blade depth. You don't want to ever have a blade depth that's too high, because the reason is you could cut right through this mat. Okay, if you put because this is a very thin mat. Okay, so you could cut right through your mat if your blade depth is too high. Okay, so let's go ahead and I put the mat, I put the piece of paper onto my mat. So now I'm going to put the Brother ScanNCut back where it was. The screen is right where it was for our last lesson. Okay. I'm going to tilt the camera a bit, move this back here. Okay. So we don't need to save this. We don't need to save this information for cutting the mats because that's in another lesson. I'm just going to go ahead back, and I'm just going to actually go home. Okay. Delete all patterns. Okay. Because later on I will show you how to save patterns, but not right now. Okay. We want to do a couple things in this lesson. Okay. We've already done a couple things with the blade, and we've attached our mats. But now we want to get, okay, the objective is to get a couple more mats for these cards, like some inner mats and a couple shapes, okay? So we're going to accomplish both of those at the same time, both of those tasks. We are going to use the pattern. We're going to go back here to this shapes, and we want a rectangle again. Okay, we don't want a square. We don't want these to stay, if we don't uncheck this, the height and width will stay in proportion, but we don't want a square, we want a rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and use this option. So when I change one, I change the other. Okay, so before in the last video, we had a 4 by 5.25. So now we're going to have a 3.75 because I always do my mats in 1/4 inch increments. Oops, I'm going too far down. Okay, 3.75, and before we had a 5.25, so now we want a 5. Okay, so we want 3.75 by 5. Okay, again, the reason is, so once again, the reason is this one here, this mat on the cards, we just made 4 of them. They were 4 by 5.25. So now I'm making a couple more mats that are 5 by 3.75. We're going a 1/4 inch smaller. This will make sense when we attach these to our cards. I want 2 of those. I'm going to go ahead and say set. Now, look how much more room I have on my mat. Okay, I can add lots more shapes, which is good because I want to add a couple more shapes. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. I'm going to add a couple more shapes, so therefore I'm going to use add because I want to add more shapes. Okay, just the word add should tell you that you can add to the mat. I'm going to pick from the shapes category again. Okay, and I like this starburst here. And I want, because this mat, this card is only, this here, for the whole card is only 4.25. This part is only 4. So you maybe want at the most like 3 inches for that starburst, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and say 3 inches. And this time I do want it in proportion because I want this round, okay? And I want 2 of those. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say set. So 2 of my cards are going to have another mat. 2 of my cards are going to have this shape. And go ahead, let's add a couple more shapes to the other cards, because they're going to also have some shapes. And the reason is we're going to have some sentiments, and I want the cards to all look different in the end. Okay, so let's use this heart. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to make it less than 3 inches because we're going to need, I'll make the hearts 2.5 because we're going to need a different one to go around those, and we're going to make 2 of those. Okay, so there we are. And let's go ahead and say okay. And we're going to go ahead and cut that. And we hit start. Load the mat. I always have to be reminded to load the mat, and you probably will be too, once you get in the habit. I still have to be reminded even after all the time I've been using this machine. I'm going to go ahead and say start. I'm not cutting off the machine because I want you to know that you have to kind of work while it's cutting. Don't go walking away like you can do with other die cutting machines, because the mat could easily slip if you don't have it taped down, and we'll talk about that. I'm rubbing it actually. I'm rubbing the mat, as it's cutting. just to be sure that nothing slips. And it's cutting perfectly. Which I knew it would because my blade depth is 4. And we already know that this pad of paper takes a blade depth of 4. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and unload the mat. Oh, let's see, finish cutting, okay. Unload the mat. Now, I didn't talk about this before in the other video, so let's move the Brother ScanNCut out of the way. And I want to show you how I remove, well, there's a couple ways I do it. How you should do it, let's put it that way. I'm going to show you how you should remove your images from the mat. If you follow my YouTube channel, you'll see that I'm a little rough sometimes. All right, so here we are. We're going to take the Martha Stewart paper off of the cutting mat, okay? Now, I don't get rid of these necessarily yet. You can use different, these can be masks and stencils, and I also have this big piece of paper still left to cut. Maybe after I'm done using all the parts, I would get rid of this. But for now, I'm saving that. Okay, you could just do what I usually do, which is just bend the mat, and then these shapes peel right off the mat, okay? Or you could do what's recommended by Brother, and it probably makes your mats last a lot longer. You take your little spatula, and that way you're not getting the oils and, you know, from your finger on the mat, and the adhesive will probably last a lot longer. But if you're a crafter, you know, like an avid crafter, and you use these mats a lot, you're probably gonna just go ahead in there and pull them off. Okay, so there we are. 6 beautifully cut shapes, and in the next video tutorial we will attach these shapes to our card, and we'll work on our cards, and we'll work on the next few layers of our project. Thank you for watching.